Hello, how are you? My name is Sodam Yang, and I'm from South Korea, and studying here at UNC. So today I'm here to talk about Korean holidays and traditional clothing. So I chose this topic because these two things can be easily found from any culture, but in a slightly different way. So I thought it was nice to talk about and then make you guys to think what are the similarities and differences in your own culture. So now, like I said, so now I want you to think about tradition American holidays and clothing. So you may think about like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or St. Patrick's Day, whatever. But I want you to keep that in your mind throughout the presentation so you can compare with your own culture and Korean culture that I'm going to talk about. So I first want to mention about there are many holidays in Korea as well, like here. So and I feel like the biggest holiday here is like Christmas or New Year's Day, and in Korea it is definitely Korean New Year's Day. So Korean New Year's Day is called Seolnal and it's Seolnal, and it is the first day of Korean lunar calendar, which is the same date on Chinese New Year's Day. So if you're familiar with that, you can think about that. And so on that day, we have all family members gathered together, and then we eat breakfast together, which is called tteokguk. And tteokguk means rice cake soup. It's literally tteok is rice cake and guk is soup. And tteokguk is a famous Korean traditional food, and then we eat that because we think as following the tradition, and it means that if you eat tteokguk for breakfast on that day, then you get a year older. So if you were 14 before, then after you eat tteokguk, it's 15. So when I was young, I thought, well, if I eat a lot of tteokguk, then I will get older faster, right? So I ate like 3 bowls of it, and then I'd be like, well, I'm 8 years old now. And then my mom was like, no, it doesn't work that way. So it was I was a little disappointed. Anyway, so that's what we do for breakfast in like morning time, and then after we eat tteokguk, we get all the elders in our family and then sit around like a living room and stuff, and then we do Korean bowing for like wishing them to have a great year ahead of them and stuff like that. So it is quite hard to explain the Korean bowing like by talking. So I prepared one video. So I hope you enjoy this. Okay. So that was the video, and I hope it looks a little bit different than how Americans bow, but I thought it'd be nice to like show you, and then that's what we do for Korean New Year's Day, and I also brought hanbok, and this is how it looks like. So this is the top, and of course we wear a little under the skirt. Looks like this, if you can see it. And it's quite hard to see, but like you saw on the video, this is a female one, and then I couldn't find a male one, so anyway. And so this is Korean traditional clothing called hanbok. So like many other cultures, we don't wear it every day anymore, but we still do wear it for special occasions like 설날 or like weddings or birthdays and stuff. So these are hanboks. Hanboks are not quite, you don't wear it quite the same way as other like modern clothing. So you wear the underneath underwear kind of thing first, and then you wear the skirt, and then the skirt comes all the way from the top. So it is kind of like not onesie, but it starts from the top, and then like you wear the seki kind of thing on the top, and then there is a little little ribbon thing right here, and then you need to tie it in a certain way, and it is really hard. So I usually ask my mom how to tie it. Yeah. So, and it was a little short presentation about Korean New Year's Day and hanbok. So if you guys have any questions, just you can type into the chat so I can answer it. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great day. And now is our second presentation. Speaker is coming. So,
hi everyone. My name is Lydia Talon, and I am a senior here at the University of North Carolina. And I'm going to talk today a little bit about Tibetan traditional clothing as well as holidays. And then also so Tibet is right next to Nepal, and Nepal is where I studied abroad last semester, and so there's a lot of Tibetans who live there. So it'll be kind of Nepal, Tibet that I'll talk about. So I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'm going to show. I'm going to share right now. All right, so hopefully everyone can see this. So the main traditional dress in Tibet is called a chupa, can be spelled either with a B or a P. Those are kind of a little bit interchangeable in the Tibetan language. And so this chupa is made out of a thick Tibetan wool to be worn in the higher altitudes of Tibet because it can get really cold in the mountains. So you can see in this picture that they're floor length, very warm. They keep the women and men warm in these colder climates. So then here is a personal photo of when I was traveling in India. And because the Dalai Lama lives in India, so we went there to see him for 2 weeks. So this is a group of girls who I traveled with. And you can see we're all wearing the chupa. And you can also tell from this picture that they can be made from like many different kinds of materials. For example, the one that I'm wearing, I'm in the middle with the red shirt and the blue dress, middle right, is made out of more silk material, whereas some of the other ones are made out of cotton and some are made out of more wool, like the ones you saw before. And so none of us are married in this group, so we don't have the apron, but for married women, they wear a striped apron over the chupa. So you can tell very easily who's married and who is not. So then for the male chupa, this is the group of guys who were with us. And you can see this is much more of like an overcoat kind of thing. It's one piece of material, whereas the woman's chupa is two materials. There is a shirt for the women, and then they wrap a dress around it. Whereas this is one like big cloth that is usually a blue, black, or gray color. As you can see, the two guys on the outsides aren't wearing one. Those are just a traditional shirt. But the guys in the middle have the chupa on, and they're tied around the waist, usually with a red string. So when you wear these chupas, it's usually signifying like a special event, a holiday, something special occasion. And so in this case, we all wore them when we had the opportunity to meet His Holiness the Dalai Lama, which was extremely fortunate for us. And as you can see, this is our whole group with him, and we're all wearing the chupa, the men and the women are, because you want to pay respects to people, and that is a way of showing respect. So another time you wear the chupa is for holidays, and one of the biggest holidays, like in the United States, is the New Year's. And so the Tibetan New Year's is called Losar, and it's the most important festival in Tibet. It's celebrated wherever Tibetans live, so they also celebrate it in Nepal and also in India. And at this event, you can see these women are wearing the traditional chupa, many different colors, and they're also dancing. And I think you can tell the one woman is wearing an apron, the striped apron, so that signifies that she is married compared to the other women who are not. And so at these celebrations, there's lots of singing and dancing and theater shows that all celebrate the Tibetan history, which is great. There's also a lot of offerings to monks at these festivals. And so before I talk about this next slide, I just want everyone to think about if there are some special foods that you or your family prepare for certain holidays that you celebrate. If you feel like it, you can type it into the questions. I think there's a little bit of delay, but you can I'll acknowledge those as they come in. Some that I think about are Thanksgiving here. My family has like a really big tradition of we all get together. We, bake the turkey and cranberries and green beans. And so I know, and then my friends all have like their own special family traditions for certain holidays. So for the Tibetan New Year's, one of the things they always make is this traditional pastry that is called kapse. Which is delicious, and basically what it is fried bread, and then they like twist it into this design. And so it's like a snack, but also like a festive thing to eat. I ate them quite a bit while I was there in Nepal. They sell them just on the streets, but especially during the holiday time, they prepare these. Oops. And so here's just a picture of, there's lots of lighting of candles at the celebration. So I'm done talking about the food or the holidays and the clothing. If anyone has any questions they would like to ask. Thank you all so much for listening, and hope you have a great day.
Hi, I'm Becca, and I'm going to talk about festivals in Germany that are really popular. So for a second, just think to yourself or talk to your neighbors about what are some festivals that you celebrate here in America that are a really big deal. And then what maybe if you've heard of any festivals or celebrations in Germany, and talk about that and put it in the comments section. We're going to start out here, and the two pictures on the front are Oktoberfest and Weihnachtsmarkt, or Christmas markets. And those are the two most popular that are celebrated, and one's kind of in the fall and one's in the winter, so they're pretty spaced out. But first we'll talk about Oktoberfest. It started back when King Ludwig and Princess Therese got married, and back in the 1700s, it was a big deal for marriages between alliances. Germany had just gone through a lot of hard wars and wasn't doing so well economically. And so this marriage kind of signified a new ally and maybe their turnaround for Germany where they could gain some of their prior prestige and dignity back. And the really cool thing about Oktoberfest is that the grounds where the fair takes place is actually where King Ludwig and Princess Teresa's marriage took place. So not much has changed in regards to location. And it typically lasts about 3 weeks. And the first 2 weeks are actually in September, and then the last week falls into October. But in 1992, it was extended 3 more days. So now it's actually 17 days instead of 14, so that the final day would be on the German reunification day. So now the celebration kind of means 2 things. It's not just, a celebration from way back when. It has some meaning that people today can still relate to. And at the end of it, there's a lot of fireworks. And so some of the things you do at Oktoberfest, you can kind of think of it almost as a state fair. If any of you guys have ever been to a state fair, there's a lot of different rides. And I think at the Oktoberfest in Munich, there's 83 different rides and different food booths. So they have like Greek food booths, Italian food booths. They have these things that are like funnel cakes, and those are probably the most popular type of food you get when you go there. Of course, German food, and each food booth is a little bit different. Like even if they're 2 Italian food booths, each one's going to serve something different, maybe a little variation that relates to the region of the people who own the food booth. So it's really interesting. You get to ride a lot of rides and try different foods. They also have the game booths, like where you take the gun and try to shoot the cans off and win the big stuffed animals. So that's really fun. And what I think Oktoberfest is probably most popular for is their big beer tents, and there's these huge tents with picnic tables. And for some of them, you're required to be dressed in your lederhosen and dirndl to go in, which I'll talk about later. But you just go in there, and it's kind of like a restaurant, like an outdoor restaurant. They serve you food and drinks, and there's a lot of live bands and dancing. And the later on into the night it gets, the more dancing there is, and they clear the tables, and they have traditional dances that they do up on the tables, and it's really fun. What you wear to these, there's traditional outfits called dirndls and lederhosen, which originated in Bavaria, and they were mostly they came from like the 1400s, back in the Middle Ages. And there's a festival, not a festival, but in the fall, in the spring, they send cows up on the mountain to graze and spend their summer where it's a little bit cooler. And then in the fall, when it starts becoming colder, they bring them down, and everyone dresses up while the cows come down the mountain. They have their bells on so you can hear them from miles away. And it's really fun, but that's where these outfits originated from. But then they started wearing them to Oktoberfest, and it just kind of caught on all over the country. And then moving on to, I have a video to show you.
Es ist super, wenn die Piste ruft. Es ist super, wenn der Ötzi ruft. Es ist super, hier im Sonnenschein und die Nacht lang nicht allein zu sein. Es ist super, dass es Frauen gibt. Es ist super, wenn man liebt und gibt. Es ist super, vor Freude laut zu sein und im Leben nicht allein zu sein. Doch das Beste auf der Welt bist du. Da kommt mein Herz zurück. Hey du, I love you. Only du, I love you. Immer wieder, immer öfter, immer zu. Only du, I love you.
As you can see, it's really fun and it's a big deal, like for all Germans. And even if you're not German, if you live close to Germany, or like me, as an American living in Germany, it was still a big deal for us. I remember my junior year, I took a physics class, and we got to go on field trips to Oktoberfest twice. Well, they said it was to like figure out the physics behind all the roller coasters and rides, but really it was just a fun thing that the teachers wanted to go to and take the kids to. So it was kind of just an excuse to get the Americans involved in it. And the other festival that I'm going to talk about are Christmas markets. They're also called Weihnachtsmarkt. They go along with the Advent calendar. So the first day of Advent is when these Christmas markets open up, and there's about, I think, 63 throughout Germany, but they aren't just in Germany. They're in Italy, France, Switzerland, many European countries, but they're the biggest deal in Germany. And what they are is these little booths set up into rows, and they're handcrafted gifts. So a lot of people do their Christmas shopping there. And the great thing is, if you get something from a Christmas market, chances are no one else is going to have it because they're handcrafted, very special. And they serve all kinds of, they also have food there, not as big of a variety, mostly German food, but some of the Christmas markets are like themed. One of them that I went to was a medieval one. So everyone was dressed up, everyone who worked there was dressed up from medieval times, and they had little fun activities like making candles or churning butter and just things that people from back in the 1300s would have had to do. And it was really fun. They had jousting matches between some people, and people could watch, and you could pay money and actually get to go into the ring and joust with someone else. I definitely didn't do that. But probably what Christmas markets are most famous for are their drinks. There are these two very popular drinks called Glühwein and Kinder Punch. And you buy one, and they give you these cute little cups, and they cost about $7. But each year they have a different type of cup, a different shape, different color. And depending on which Christmas market you go to, it'll have the name of the Christmas market on there. So you walk into the Christmas market and you get your little drink, and it keeps your hands warm while you walk around and look at everything. And it ends so Christmas Eve. And it's a big celebration. They have fireworks, and all the vendors kind of go half price. And so it's so crowded. A lot of times they have ice skating rinks, and the fireworks will go off right behind the ice skating rink. So you'll be on an ice skating rink trying to cram hundreds of people on there, not to skate, but just to watch the fireworks. So it's a really fun atmosphere. And then by the time you go home, it's past midnight, so it's already Christmas. And I think I have a cup right here, an example to show you. First, I'll show you another video clip of Weihnachtsmarkt, so you can kind of get a little idea of what it's like. So in the video, I think it showed a few shots of someone drinking out of a cup. And right here is a cup that I got when I went in 2006, so kind of a long time ago. But just so you can kind of see what they look like. They're not very big, but it's kind of a tradition. Every year you go and you get one, and you have a collection of them. A lot of times people use them like their collection as Christmas decorations in their kitchen or something. So here's what they look like. It's a different little pattern each year, and sometimes they have multiple for you to choose from. But that's what they look like. Thank you, and I hope you guys all have a great day.
So we'll be back again at 1 p.m. for our last session.